Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Suzerain. Let us continue on for last left off. So we've got the support of the PFJP party. I think it's pretty good. Situation of education. And your call from bus manager. Let's go with... I mean, railway's still only like halfway done. You know, let's get an update on the situation of education. After a meeting with the rector and a brief tour of the University of Sordland, we gathered in a room with Sierra. The entire campus was visible... Oh, new construction, whatever. The entire campus was visible from the window. Students were reading books, studying, and having picnics under the trees. It reminded me of our own times in dear University of Culture, at least the more carefree moments. Reminiscing about the past. Yeah, how are your university years? The usual story. A few friends died, a couple of them missing after the coup. Oh, and I was almost arrested once. What for? Protesting against police brutality. Ironic, isn't it? Let's not get sidetracked. I wanted to start off by saying this. I was very positive to see the administration dedicate the funding that was requested. I'm making sure the additional funds are being used in the best way possible in order to resolve structural issues. Speaking of, I want to thank you for allowing me to lead our education system in the right direction. By removing nationalist indoctrination and traditional teaching, we have unlocked the potential for the next generation. The students of now will thank us in the future, President Rayne, for we have unlocked the potential of critical thought the society desperately needed. In this way, you have surpassed all the leaders before you. Sordland needs visionaries like you to reform to become something better. Or not something promising and grand, Mr. President. She nodded and brought out a stack of papers from her bag. Spinning her ballpoint pen, she went through the papers, organizing them together. Our ministry has prepared the necessary framework regarding how to spend the increased education budget. I've outlined 3 potential options. We can build new rural schools, improve the standards of existing ones, or increase the salary for education workers. We have the capacity to implement one of these. What does improving rural skills entail? Where to start? At the very least, they need new equipment and materials. Many of these schools are facing shortages of desks and textbooks. The ones that aren't haven't been updated since the Sordland administration. The teachers lack the resources to give Sordland youth a proper education, and can be as bad as if they don't go to school at all. What about new schools? The issue is very critical, as we're losing many young people to ignorance and illiteracy. Sordland's rural population is full of untapped potential. With enough education, these people can assist in our workforce and society. Like how United Katana is putting past Arcasian education and research. It's because most of the rural populace has access to schools. Okay. Let us build new rural schools. The primary goal must be to increase access to education. It feels gratifying that we're finally serving the people directly. I'll pass this down to the ministry. That's all there is for now. I'll have to talk with Miss Uno to schedule some time to discuss her curriculum. She's a very astute woman, your secretary. You must want to consider promoting her. We'll meet again very soon. Keep up the good work. Sierra puts the paper back in her bag and left the meeting. Okay, so Wayland refugees fleeing to Sworddish borders. Wayland meets Richter. You back to reforms, which is nice. And the Coriat Industrial Zone, which is right here. Okay. Is there anything we need to worry about here? Briefing the curriculum or a call from... Let's talk to Gus. The sun was setting over Hostlord. I was in my office working on the preliminary details that Sierra sent over about the curriculum. The phone rang and I picked up. Mr. President? Yes, what is it? Mr. Mancher is on the line, sir. Also, what are you... Okay, good education for the rural population. He said it's about an investment. Excellent, connect them through. As you wish. A moment crackling noise indicated the line change. Mr. Manager! What do I owe the pleasure? Mr. President! As your secretary might have informed you, I'm calling about what we discussed at the party. I'm honestly very glad, though, you decided to attend the vice president's little gathering. A very enjoyable party turned out to be even more enjoyable with the actual results out of it. Let's hear the results. Very well. I'm very happy to inform you that you and your investment to procure the vineyard in Eldroy has been accepted by the current resident. You are now the owner of a lovely vineyard, a beautiful villa, and a sizable land. As I mentioned before, there might be some costs related to refurbishing the winemaking equipment, however, the facilities are there. I will have the deed and key sent to you immediately. Congratulations are in order, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Wouldn't be possible without you. Thank you, Mr. President. You are too kind. I'm looking forward to more successful ventures we might do together in the future. Thank you for the time. Let me know if there's anything else in the future. Have a good evening. Okay, so just a short little message. Oh, I'm richer than the government. Fantastic. It's already, but you've already been updated once? You've already got 1 level done. Fantastic. You're actually going pretty fast. Sierra has scheduled a short meeting at the Ministry of Education to discuss the current curriculum taught in schools. The ministry building was located in the government's district right next to the Ministry of Health. It was tall, narrow, and wedge-shaped, like a slightly opened book. Near the front gate, there were many statues of world-renowned scientists and thinkers. The largest, of course, was Albert Einstein, the greatest scientist of all. Above the main entrance was a familiar inscription, Intrasis or Agravagragnia, il ola emerlat ina ola mexis. Education is the premise of progress in all societies and all families. Inside the buildings, I was greeted by Sierra's assistant. They led me by the hand. No, they led me to the meeting where she was waiting inside. She stood and gripped my hand. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Let's start. I'll cut straight to the chase. Our progressive reform in Sordland's education system is well underway, but there's one sticking point. It involves evolution versus creationism. As it currently stands, schools across Sordland can decide whether to include evolution, creationism, or both in their education. Rural schools are often decided to favor creationism only, which puts students at a disadvantage when it comes to entering university. The effect is especially noticeable among young women. My suggestion is that we make teaching evolution mandatory and ban creationism altogether. Okay, that's great to hear. Sounds like we're already aligned on the matter. Lucy knocked on the door and entered. Excuse me. That's my knocking sound. Some urgent business has kept me away. Greetings, Mr. Glade. Mr. President, Mrs. Walda. We're discussing the curriculum. Sierra made some excellent points. Very well, let's hear them. Continuing from my previous point, is my conviction that we should require mandatory teaching of evolution in the public school and cut creationism completely out. If we want children from rural areas to have the same opportunities as their urban counterparts, this is the way. Opening students' minds and reducing the role of religion in schools will also lead to more equality between young men and women. Ms. Walda, don't bring your pet cause into this. Mr. President, there are other considerations that you may not have thought about. Although I myself believe in evolution, you must certainly not alienate a rural conservative voter base. We owe a lot to their support. Forcing their school districts to teach evolution could irreparably damage our standing with them. Every modern nation is reducing or removing creationism from their curriculum, yet we are supposed to allow schools to promote fundamentally and yes sexist ideas from 1,000 years back. So what are you doing now? Copying what other nations are doing instead of paving your own way? If it works, why not? Look at the analysis. It's clear that superpowers are doing something right. Should we reinvent the wheel, Mr. Glade? You speak as if we don't import any influence from other countries. That's not what I said. Your voice started to get louder and louder. I had out my voice for silence. We can still allow creation in schools as long as evolution is taught as well. So you already said you could live with this. Yes, although I don't like it. Still believe schools are no place for religion. I don't like it either. You have to prepare to lose a lot of voters. Sierra looks me in the eyes. It's your decision, don't forget. The future generation of Sordland's youth are counting on you. You know what, Lucian, if we're going to lose voters either way, then we'll only support evolution. As your chief strategist, my job is to advise you on the political landscape, and I guarantee you, this won't do us well. Sometimes there are more important things, Mr. Glade, like ideals. They turned and looked at each other. Lucian lifted his eyebrow, and Sierra held his gaze for a couple of seconds. The meeting ended shortly afterwards. Okay, so, big win for science as Rayne forces schools to evolve. Privatization, the future of Sordland. Evolution, get used to it or get out of the way. Nationalize the Big Four. Overblown rights case appealed. Sisha raises the blutest question. You know what? It's a little bit of a... the wording there is a bit... What do we got? Lobby the assembly. Your chief strategist, Losing Glade, has prepared a well-planned lobbying effort in Parliament, which would especially sway the on-the-fence MPs for the upcoming constitutional vote. The plan includes lavish parties, gifts, and some political favors. Should we go ahead with the plan? So it's going to cost me personal money. We'll spend one wealth. I'm pretty rich. Also, we're already continuing. We're actually done chapter 2. Chapter 3, Victim of Changes. That sound... I mean, there's 4 chapters, so I guess we're like about halfway through the game. At this point, like, we can't just end the series. Like, we've got to finish the whole game, right? You can't just end the series, like, halfway through. Okay, so what's in the news? Backlash man shot after burning Agnolian flag. World ignores the British plight. Got some BFF recruitment. Okay. So what is this? This is turn 7. A call from Mr. Karate. I was in my office looking through the agenda for the upcoming meeting at the Ministry of the Economy. The meeting was going to be about the ownership of the Big Four, the 4 largest company of Sordland, the heart of Sordland, Bergia Steel, the Sordland State Corporation, and Neda Mining Group. Some of these companies were controlled in part or entirely by the state. The others were mostly or completely privatized. I have the power to change that. The phone rang and I put the agenda down. Pick up the phone. Greetings, Mr. President. I'm sorry to disturb you before such an important meeting, but I thought now would be a good time to talk about our arrangement. I'm sure you'll agree that this board and I might not have given your administration been nothing but beneficial. Half of your non-state media in the country have been sharing positive news about you and downplaying negative effects. Our partnership has been successful so far. I'm glad you agree. Your public opinion could have nosedived if not for us. I heard him knock on wood. On another note, out of goodwill, I will share a key piece of information. The Lowsburg Group has continually planned to decide to do anything rash to disrupt your empires. You can't blame them, can you? I imagine someone trying to take your authority and personal wealth away without your consent. I don't see why we should be enemies. Exactly. If everyone plays their cards right, it'll all be fine. Now, let's talk about those cards. Since the start of your campaign, you've admirably promoted a planned economy. Going by that, I worry that you'll attempt to nationalize Sordland's largest private corporations. Nationalization as a concept goes against everything my father built and stood for. If you wanted to go down this road, I insist that you exclude HOS from such plans. Who is, the heart of Sordland. That's my most important request. You may recall that one of my terms of agreement was that I may ask you a favor. Well, this is it. And I understand. I want our partnership to continue uninterrupted. As do I. I always keep my end of the bargain, Mr. President. Don't forget. You better keep yours as well. He cleared his throat. Before we end the call, there's one more thing I would like to discuss. I will be blunt. Mr. Tusk is unfit to be a spokesman for the Lothric Group. You know what? I also don't like him, so I can agree with that. His archaic thinking has only preserved the status quo that benefits himself and a precious few others. It's high time something changed. Oh, you have in mind to replace him? Who do you think? Me, of course. Here's what I propose. It's a win-win situation. If you could use your powers to make Bergia Steel, Tusk's main company, state-owned, he will lose considerable influence, which could mean that I could take over. If I take over with your help, I will be forever indebted to you and support you in all your goals, be they re-election or something more. Sounds like a profitable deal to me. Just think about it. That's all I'm asking. Well then. I've taken up enough of your time today. It's been a productive call. Thank you for your time. Goodbye, Mr. Karate. After a couple minutes, I went back to reviewing the agenda. Refugees suffer because of rain. Look, I need to try to make more money, but it actually cost me a development point, so apparently I don't know how to run things. The requested meeting of Lucien Glade. Lucien scheduled some time with me to discuss potential political replications of the upcoming economic meeting. He arrived on time as usual and took a seat right across from me. Good morning, Mr. President. Lucien had dark circles below his eyes. A plethora of political developments must have been weighing on him, weighing even on a workaholic like him. Looking a bit tired. Are you getting enough sleep? I'm trying to, sir. Don't push yourself too much. I will try not to. I must say, you don't look much better. I'll look at myself in a small-handed mirror. Similar circles beneath my eyes as well. I booked some of your time to pre-plan for today's meeting at the Ministry of Economy. We need to be cautious. Any grand plans with the economy also heavily influence political standing. We will change the relationship with the old guard, the oligarchs, and the opposition. As you know, this meeting will give us the opportunity to alter the ownership of the Big Four, the largest corporation of all of Sordland. As we can start the process of nationalization or privatization, we can just keep the status quo. Again, I remind you that any change will tip an already fragile balance. I personally think we should stay out of this and keep things as they are. I see no need to make new political enemies on the stage at this term, but ultimately the decision is yours. I mean, I'll mostly keep things the same. Although I think the oligarchs would like to privatize everything, maintain a status quo, not disturb a relationship with them. This means more stability, both economically and politically. Speaking of stability, some of my connections indicate that there are being a contest for leadership of the Lothric Group. It looks like Marcel Caranti is making moves to become the key figure. Caranti probably wants his father's seat as the head of the group, and Tusk doesn't want to let go of it. It's a significant power struggle, considering that these are the heads of Sordland's 2 largest private corporations. Another reason why I'm supporting your decision to leave the situation as it is. There's no reason for us to interfere, directly or indirectly, in their internal struggles. I received a call from Marcel. What did he ask for? He wanted to make a deal to leave HOS untouched. And then... I said I think about it. Very well. Is that all he wanted? He also wanted me to nationalize Bergia Seal to take down Tusk. As I expected, the internal conflict among the oligarchs puts us in an interesting position. Our relationship with Walter Tusk hasn't been good so far. Any move we make now has been to be calculated and thought through. He looks at his watch. Very well then. I'll cancel the meeting since we are not taking any actions. I must get back to work. I'm glad you made the decision. Thank you for your time. Sword is containing a joint drill at Coordinate Naval Base. Contonian ships from Conrad seen together with Voxlon Navy. Tensions are continuing to rise. The UELA passes the following laws. Section 1. It forces that education institutions in Sordland will teach all classes except for foreign language in the official language of the country, unless they are given specific approval by the Ministry of Education. Universities, technical colleges, and other schools that provide classes in any language other than Sordland will receive a suspension of operations until they apply for approval process. Section 2 enforces the laws through defunding penalties and total shutdown of schools. We'll sign it. Okay, so we passed that law. And the results of... What was the event called? I don't remember. Okay. Livia intercepted me in front of my office and informed me that I had a call from Walter Tusk. I ain't trying to pick up the phone. President Rayne speaking. Good afternoon. I heard some disturbing news. News about a deal between you and Mr. Kanati. What kind of deal? Oh, something about controlling the media. Listen to me carefully now, Rayne. I suppress those rumors for you. For now, they'll stay that way. If you do what I say, I won't give in to your false accusations. Let me tell you what I want first, and I'll let you decide. That damn boy, Marcel Caranti. I want him out of the equation. I found some evidence linking him to the Karate cartel, a powerful crime syndicate. What I want for you is simple. I will feed the information to the officials. I want you to start an investigation in the heart of Sordland. That's all I ask. Is the information about the cartels verified? I won't tell you if it wasn't the case. Heed my words, Mr. President, if you want to keep being one. Look, I fucking hate this dude. Drive-by shooting in Avery. And it's time to vote. It's the big day for the Constitution. I was thinking if my attempt to change the Constitution would end any differently than Alfonso's. I looked at the window as the noise in the city diminished. I saw that we were already inside the territory of the Palace Complex. The Palace Complex was large, housing the buildings of all government branches in the city of Hostlord. It was one of the biggest developments in Sordland. The Maroon Palace stood on a small hilltop surrounded by trees. We passed by the palace and entered the forest that divided it and the Grand National Assembly. We drove on a small road inside the forest, accompanied by the sounds of birds and bugs coming from the tall trees. Are you okay back there, sir? I'm stressed about today. I'm sure it's going to work out fine, sir. Don't stress yourself. Sergei made a left turn out of the forest and we entered the vast garden area of the assembly. Did you know that Mr. Tarkin came to Hostlord this morning? I've heard some politicians were talking about it today. Apparently, this is the first time he's come to the city in the last 5 years. I thought he left the mainland and lived in Dirt Island. Never returned to return back to politics. But they're saying he might be here to exercise his Member of Honor rights for the first time. Wait, what? Who's talking about this? I overheard several men talking about it in the gardens of the assembly. Sir, I'm not too sure who they were. Could be rumors, of course. Do you think he's here about today? About today's vote? I hope not. Well, I'm sure he will support you, sir. I mean, we'll learn soon enough. Sergei drove inside the gate of the parkway and parked the car. We've arrived, sir. Thank you, Sergei. Of course, good luck with the vote. I walked on the white stone stairs of the Grand National Assembly. The entrance looked like a temple gate of the classical era. Inside was a vast corridor of wood and white stone. I joined with the crowd of people who were walking down slowly towards Parliamentary Hill. Suddenly, I noticed Lucian emerge from the crowd of packed politicians in front of me. He looked relieved when he saw me. Ah, sir, there you are. How do you see Mr. President? Or Mr. Vice President? He's nowhere to be found. I've just arrived here, Lucian. I hope he'd arrive soon, too. But anyway, how about you? Are you ready to finally face the assembly, sir? Lucian, I just heard something worrying about Sergei. No need to worry about anything, sir. Come, we must go inside. We followed the crowd into the parliamentary hall. After we were inside, we split with Lucian to take our designated seats. I went up to the elevator platform overlooking the hall and sat down. I waited as the MPs slowly started to gather inside the hall and take their place. After a while, I saw Gloria walk into her elevated seat at the center of the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We begin shortly with today's agenda of USP's proposed change to the Constitution of Sordland. After a short while, everybody took their seats. According to the Constitution, constitutional amendments require 2/3 of the members of the Assembly to vote in favor of it. If the vote succeeds, the proposal will be sent to the Supreme Court. The proposal in question will include these points. She started reading the proposal to the Assembly. First section of the changes. Article 57 is modified with the following. She continued reading the proposal, highlighting each section. Section 2, paragraph 36. She went on. May not exercise his right to. And then, Justice of the Supreme Court. Most of the MPs seemed like they were already falling asleep. A simple majority considered. The seat was really hurting my back. Section 4, paragraph 44A. It felt like an eternity had passed when she finally finished reading the changes. I hereby invite you all to vote. She struck her gavel down, which echoed in the hall. The sound made some MPs jump in shock as they woke up from their deep sleep. It requires a 2/3 majority in favor to pass. You may now cast your votes. I felt the need to stand up and stretch. I looked to the hall at our elevator platform and overlook it. Like, why am I actually nervous? It's a fake vote for a constitutional reform. Most members of the Assembly got up from their seats and joined one of the many groups deciding discussions that emerged around the hall, while some immediately walked to the ballot box to cast their votes. I'll walk down the elevated seat down towards the hall. As soon as I went downstairs, closer to Kabir approached me. Mr. President, how are you feeling about the vote? I'm hoping for the best. The best outcome for the proposal is for it to fail. I've lost my respect for you, Mr. Rayne. There are many problems in Sordland that need to be addressed as you stall us with these so-called democratic reforms. I know you will fail. You will eventually lose the entire administration. You will lose the game. And I hope to be there when it happens. Keep hoping, Mr. Klebner. He laughed. Suddenly he turned away and walked towards the seat. Then I saw Lucian waving to me. He's among a group of people that at the corner of the hall. I walked up to him. On the way, I bumped into Mursan Leakey. Who the hell are you? Politician of British descent, member of the Assembly, leader of the Independents. Mr. President, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I wish you good luck with the vote. I respect your fight to abolish the member of honor position. This may help us finally ask questions of Tarkal Sol about what he had done to the British people. You have my support. I hope to see you support British rights in the future. I hope you stand by us. Thank you for your nice words. You have my support too. I hope you stand by your words, Mr. President. But anyway, I'll go cast my vote now. He shook my hand and walked away. Finally finished the walk towards Lucian without further interruptions. He was in conversation with a member of our party. He looked at me and then he saw me approach. Sir, did you vote yet? Yeah, you have to be quick. No, let's vote. I saw my vote and prepared the envelope. Together with Lucian, we then walked to the center of the hall to cast our votes. He kept rushing me through the process. Why are you rushing me through the process? Gloria bowed her head slightly in respect as she saw his vote. Lucian pulled my arm and whispered in my ear. Mr. President, there's an issue. Tarkal Sol is here. I know. You have to accelerate the voting. We need everybody to vote as soon as possible. We don't know if what he can pull off right now, but if the members of the Assembly see him, he might influence them against the proposal. Should I talk to him? I advise against that right now. People should focus on the veto. Should focus on the vote at hand. We can't let him sabotage with his big personality. I asked Gloria to speed. I walked with Gloria and asked her to speed the voting. She hit her gravel 2 times and waited for a few seconds to allow time for the gravel sound to fill the room with echo. Ladies and gentlemen of the Assembly, it was soon starting the counting. Please cast your votes if you haven't already. The pace of the hall definitely increased. The groups dispersed and MPs came to the box to cast their votes one by one. Suddenly, Lucian pulled me back. Sir, what do we do? He pointed back to the Assembly near one of the exits. We looked closely. I saw Tarkal Sol sitting in the very back. He looked like a shadow of the past. An old age seemed to get to him. But he still had the same charisma. Some MPs had already gathered around him in awe and respect. The Assembly gradually went quiet as people started to notice Tarkal Sol present in the hall. Should we do something? We should refrain from giving the spotlight and recognition he expects. Maybe you can address him after the vote. You know what? Lucian, that's why I hired you. You got good head on that shoulders. Yeah, on those shoulders. As I was talking to Lucy, and I spotted Kleber walking past the back of the hall towards Tarkin's soul. He bowed in front of Soul and gave him a military salute. Seeing this, more people started to approach him. Suddenly, Gloria came behind us. Gentlemen, why don't you go back to your seats and not stand near the ballot box? Let's follow the procedures. Oh, by the way, we have 251 members today. The member of honor is here and has already casted his vote. Did he now? So, Mr. Gloria, how many votes are we missing? Only a few. Alvin, Calvin, and a few other men approached us with their envelopes in hand. And these must be them. Good day to you, gentlemen, Madam Speaker. Good day, Mr. Clavin. I'm sorry for taking so long, Mr. President. There was a friend who needed more clarification on his vote. He gestured at the man behind him. Let's get this over with, gentlemen. They went ahead and cast their votes. Let's win this, Mr. President. He walked to his seat with a fist in the air. Let's have you two back in your seats as well. All right. We both went back to our seats. When I returned back to the elevated... We both went back to our seats. When I returned back to the elevated seats of the council members, I saw Peter sitting in the chair next to mine. Hey, where were you? I was here. Where were you? Anyway, I was here until voting began. I mean, maybe I was not in the exact position, sure, but I was here in the assembly. She looked at Gloria as she and her assistant counted the votes. The speaker's seat was only a few meters away from her position. Really hope the process goes through. Soul is here. What? Hope he doesn't sabotage the vote. Fuck. Trying to get Gloria's attention by waving to her. How many left? Gloria looked at Peter. She looked annoyed. It's looking pretty good. 20 more votes to count. Peter turned to me. Thank God. Shut up, Peter. Sorry. Just please. Peter pointed where Franz Richter was sitting. Look at him. I'm sure he was behind this mess. You shouldn't have trusted Mr. Richter. Wait, why can I not trust him? It's not over yet, Peter. Don't jump to conclusions. Well, suddenly Gloria loud gavel echoed in the hall, which made everyone watch her intently. The voting has concluded. I'm anxious to hear the results. The proposal was 225 A's to 26 nays, a historic result. Therefore, the Grand National Assembly surpassed the two-thirds majority and accepted the changes to the Constitution. The proposal will be presented to the Supreme Court shortly after the final voting procedure. The Assembly roared with all kinds of different reaction. Yes, we did it! Thank you for your hard work, Peter. The MPs kept shouting in the hall. Among them, I heard Franz Richter speak. I'm going to congratulate the members of the Assembly and the President for passing changes to our old and untouched Constitution. I also want to thank members of the United Sordland Party for working with our party. I hereby invite the Supreme Court to do the right thing by not ignoring the decision of the Grand National Assembly that was elected by the Swordist people. The PFJP seats went very loud and applauded him. Suddenly, I noticed Tarko slowly stand up from his seat in the back. He was seemingly struggling and using the help of his cane. When he stood up, his gaze wandered the hall as all the members of the Grand National Assembly went silent. I'll keep watching him. He walked out of the exit as two men held the doors open for him. Thank God he didn't do anything. In any case, the proposal was passed the Assembly, and now we have to think about the Supreme Court. Let's enjoy this victory for now. Sure. You want to have a drink after this? Yeah, let's do it. Hell yeah. We left the hall together to grab a drink at the palace. We were Sergei by the entrance. And I think with that, this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Anthnwam. If you enjoyed, my thumbs up. Not enjoyed, please thumb down. If you want to see more, subscribe. And goodbye.